Welcome back, everybody. Well, our ability to earn money and manage it impacts nearly every area of our lives. This October, we are focusing on how you can become smarter with your money by challenging all North Dakota residents to take the Smart with My Money Personality Challenge. So you can learn how your personality affects your approach to money and how you can use those characteristics to improve your financial wellness. Well, joining us to share all about this is Thomas Beadle. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, well, I'm excited to chat about this. Definitely good things to keep in mind when managing your money, huh?
All sorts of stuff. We want to make sure that everyone has all the tools that they need to be smart with their financial decisions in North Dakota. Yes,
definitely very important. So how can Smart with My Money help someone who's trying to learn about renting or buying a home?
Yes, especially buying a home. That's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make in your life. So it's important to really be comfortable with that decision. And so a lot of it comes down to, where are you at? Are you looking for mobility? Or, renting might be a great option if you're only going to be here for a short period of time and you're looking to move around. Are you looking to set up roots because this is now where you want your family and you want to plant a flag here? Then you're going to want to buy. There's all sorts of factors that weigh into that in terms of where are you at and what are your goals. But we've got all sorts of tips on Smart with My Money about that.
Yeah, what about some financial factors that people should think about or weigh when deciding to rent or buy?
Absolutely. So you need to make sure that your monthly payment that you're making for your lodging is only about a third of your income. And so especially if you're going to go out there and try to finance and get a mortgage, you need to make sure that you're keeping that payment level to be low, because the banks also, they don't want you to default on that. So they want to make sure that they're lending to someone who's going to be able to pay them back. Similarly, a landlord wants to make sure that if they're renting to you, that you can make that rent payment. So first you need to understand, okay, how much am I earning? Because that's going to limit how much I'm going to be able to take on. And so, you might want to have that house with a pool in the backyard and everything else. That might be out of your wheelhouse. And so you got to work your way up towards that. And so figure out kind of where you are, kind of what your budget range is. And then that can help you figure out, okay, am I in a position where I can put a down payment on there and I can go out and buy a house? Am I going to be eligible for FHA loans or VA loans to help me with those payments? Or am I going to need to rent for a little while? Or maybe renting is going to be a better solution for me anyways because of the mobility that I'm looking to have down the line. And so there's a lot of questions to ask yourself that'll really help formulate your decision.
Yes, definitely some things to think about. What about, lifestyle and emotional considerations? You touched on a few of them, but
I mean, it's really, lifestyle is going to be a big thing on there. So you want to make sure that you understand where you're at, but also it's going to impact, did you go out there and maybe you just bought a car, or you have a bunch of credit card stuff you've had, maybe you've been making a whole bunch of purchases. Well, now a bank might look at that and flag that and say, you've had too many draws in your credit, we're not going to loan to you right now. And so, where you are at in your lifestyle, kind of what decisions have you been making and what decisions do you have coming up? The timing on all of those is going to impact a little bit for how you're going to be able to figure out what you're going to be able to do from a housing perspective. As a former realtor, I would love you to go out and buy houses. That's great, but you might need to rent. You might need to look at some other options, or maybe you need to get, go a little smaller scale in terms of what you're thinking you can afford. But you also want to make sure you don't go too small. You don't want to buy a house that's not going to fit your growing family or where you are at, and so you just need to plan forward.
Definitely a lot of things to consider and think about. Tell me a little bit about, the responsibility for maintenance and repairs. Is that something that people take into consideration?
It's something that people often take into consideration, but they often will undercut how much of an impact that might have. Especially if you're looking at buying an older home, you might have a roof going to go out soon. You might have to get a new furnace. I just had yesterday got a bid for a new furnace for myself. There's some sticker shock associated with some of that. Fortunately, most people, when they're renting, they're able to have that covered. When you're buying a house, oftentimes you'll have some homeowners insurance or some other stuff that might help you with some of those immediate costs that happen. But as things go on, you have wear and tear. The carpet wears out, the shingles on the roof wear out. You will have expenses come up, and one of the things that we often find is people don't know how to properly save for that. And so kind of figuring out what is a good amount that I should tuck away for those rainy day expenses so that I don't have to go and get a loan or finance some of those maintenance costs down the line is really important.
Okay, so I've seen this and heard of this a lot, co-buying.
Yeah.
So people are, buying a home with friend or a family member. That's becoming a little bit more common. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, especially as costs keep going up. And
Yeah.
so we all know that home prices have gone up in recent years, and that really makes it difficult for a lot of folks to get that first home.
Yeah.
And so they're looking at coming up with creative ways of who can they partner with for it. And it certainly is a great option for many folks.
Yeah.
But you need to make sure that you understand the relationship that you're in,
Yes.
understand who you're going into that venture with. Because if it's toxic, if that's a situation that might not, you're at different stages of your life with your friendships, and the friends that you might be going in on that with, it's all going to be something that has to come out on the back end too, and you hope is a win-win for everyone. And so figuring out, what's the trust level, what's the comfort level, and are we similarly motivated for our end goals when you're making that big financial decision is critically important.
Okay, definitely things to keep in mind. So where can we go for more information?
We've got a lot of tips and tricks and learning modules all around housing and renting and your living situation at smartwithmymoney.nd.gov.
All the things to take into consideration, right? I love it. Well, thank you so much, Thomas.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, we appreciate your time this morning. Got some great tips.